Hey, friends on the internet. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I'm super excited that you're here for another installment of Spooky Saturday. Just chatting in a segment where me and my friends on the internet talk about spooky shit. So whether you're here with us live or you're watching the VOD later here on Twitch or over on YouTube, super pumped that you're here. Keep saying that. I'm sorry, I'm in like rare form today. Um, Today we're hanging out with Innocent Ivy. Hi, Innocent.
Bunny. Hi, guys.
Here, teacher, present. That's correct. Also, I think Zombie fixed the sound from last week where OBS had an absolute shit fit. uh, yeah. Oh, how are you doing today, Innocent? Are you in rare form too?
Doing good. I'm ready for our chaos.
Absolutely. What happens when you put two amateur sleuths together talking about spooky stuff? Great
Absolute
things.
chaos.
Absolutely. Also, I for sure have. It's been a crazy week. I've been sick. Um, so my normal stuff that I do throughout the week, when I'm not at my real people, like my like job, um, kind of got compressed into like 2.5, like 2 days. So I've been everywhere today, and yesterday. But it's been really fun. Also, before we start in on the spooky stuff, congratulations on getting affiliate.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
I am proud of all of us. We
Yes,
have all done hard work
cause you and Ty both got it
within days of each other.
within days. So you guys did the buddy system, the battle buddy system,
That's right.
like how Archie and I had the same thing. You and Ty are the it's beautiful. Mwah! Chef's kiss. This is what we like to
Mwah.
see. This is what dreams are made of. Hey now, hey now. Don't come for me, mouse.
Hey.
Oh man, this is. You've been here before, so you remember how I will hydrate. And because I love you, I will actually drink water and not the coffee that I'm drinking out of the cup that my brother bought me that has mushrooms on it, but they're also butts.
You know, given what we talked about earlier, go ahead and drink your coffee. It's fine.
Oh, I'm
I'm
gonna.
drinking some
I'm
orange and
gonna.
pineapple Sunny D. So every time you
Absolute.
hydrate, I'll hydrate.
Absolute. I'm doing a hand gesture that I don't normally do. That's weird. I talk with
Oh,
my
it's okay.
hands.
I saluted you with my cup.
That's how it's done. We're professionals.
We
Uh,
are.
oh man, yeah. So you've been here before. You know how this works.
Oh yeah.
Um, we're gonna talk, kind of round robin. Today we're talking about mysterious disappearances. I cannot talk today, and missing persons cases. We're continuing the conversation we had the last time you were here about odd disappearances. I think we're just gonna. I think we talked about it earlier. Where we're just gonna kind of turn this into a thing,
Yep.
which
This
is
is our thing.
yes. I haven't made the little like graphic because I was gonna do that, and then I was on a phone call, so I was multitasking by doing that and playing Minecraft. Because I was like, I will mess up this graphic for sure if I try right now, but I can't mess up like harvesting agricultural stuff. Like
Right.
you
Yeah.
can't
Well, there
mess
you
that
go.
up. You can just plan it. It's fine. So yeah, it all worked. It all worked out. It all worked out. It'll be good. I'm very pumped though that you're here.
I'm so
Um,
excited.
I know, I know. Because I know we kind of had a prep talk earlier today about the stuff we were gonna cover. Because normally during the beginning of the week I would touch base with you on that, but it didn't work out that way.
No, we last minuted it.
It's fine. This is how professionals work. Um, but yeah, I actually prepared my own stuff, so I can say 100% none of this is the script to the B movie. Gonna just lay that out there. Sorry, chat. You're not gonna be bamboozled today. You might be bamboozled, but not by that. But yeah, so we're gonna do like a round robin thing. We're gonna react as we're going through the information. It's pretty exciting. I'm pumped. And yeah, so let's just dive in. I know you had a really good one you wanted to start with, and I'm
Oh
really
yeah,
excited for it.
it's any Catholics, I believe it
Yeah,
is, might have a conniption fit.
it's the Roman Catholic is the
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I'm terrible at that. So if I offend you, chat, please feel free to tell me to fuck off in my chat. Like, or just be like, Bad Bunny, you did a no-no. I take full
If
responsibility. Yeah,
if I offend you, I apologize. I'm just going with what I've got. But yeah, I thought we could start out with the mysterious disappearance of Emanuele Orlandi in the Vatican.
the Vatican.
Um, they, uh, no, I'll read the first stuff that I found, and then we can
Yeah,
fiddle through the rest of it.
for sure.
Uh, on a sweltering summer evening in June of 1983, 15-year-old Emanuela Orlandi disappeared from Vatican City in central Rome after attending a routine music lesson. The daughter of a prominent Vatican employee, Orlandi enjoyed the religious center's idyllic gardens and often ran into Pope John Paul II. Her brother Pietro recalled their city being more of a village inhabited by a close-knit group of around 6 families.
That's really
But Orlando
beautiful.
Berry makes it sound so sweet.
I mean, I grew up in a village, so I totally love that.
Yeah, like this small, close. I'm a small town gal myself. These big cities drive me bonkers. But Orlandi's disappearance on June 22nd of that year launched decades of kaleidoscopic conspiracy theories that include the Italian mafia, Vatican Satanists, sex
Wait,
trafficking, and
hold on.
sacrifice.
Hold on. Because I know you briefly, you're like, yeah, I have one about, like, the Vatican City. And I'm like, cool. You didn't, wait, what? Can you run that by me one more time so I can fully. I need to just hear that sentence one more time.
The kaleidoscopic conspiracy theories include the Italian mafia, Vatican Satanists, sex trafficking, and sacrifice.
That's a sentence.
That is a
That's
sentence.
also, I really, like that one phrase, kaleidoscopic.
Conspiracies.
I need to write
Conspiracy.
that down because that is a beautiful phrase. Hold on. Brother, can you write that down? I know you're in chat. I'm gonna write it down anyways. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna do things. Let me grab my phone. Okay.
See, I know how to get your reactions.
You you snuck that up on me. Oh, you snuck that up on me good.
Well, while you're writing down that,
Yeah.
um, on the last day anyone saw her, Orlandi called her sister after her music class to tell her that a representative from Avon Cosmetics had offered her a job. When Orlandi failed to return home the following day, her parents called the teacher from her class and the police. Her mysterious disappearance was declared a missing person case that day. A witness initially reported seeing a girl matching Orlandi's description entering a green BMW near the music school on the night of her disappearance, but that bit of information would lead nowhere. Shortly after this maddening detail surfaced, the Orlandis received an ominous phone call promising to return the girl if the Vatican released Mehmet Ali Agca?
If you're having trouble pronouncing it, you can type it in chat cuz hopefully someone can do phonetic things. That's what I do cuz I hate mispronouncing things, even though I frequently do
Wrong
that.
window.
I frequently do that.
There.
uh,
Um,
gonna
if
give it
not,
a
well, at
I'm
least
gonna
they
give it
have
a
a circle.
stab. Mehmet Alit Agfa? Ag Ag yeah. I don't know why I threw a B in there. Yeah, chat, please help me. Because I can't. Today
Please.
is my first day wording, guys. Need assistance. Whew. Okay, so that person's name, who we're so sorry we mispronounced it. Because I'm sure I did. You probably I would love it if you got it
Pretty
right.
sure we both did.
Nailed
I
it.
would love to
Nailed it.
find out the correct way. A Turkish national who was languishing in prison for having attempted to assassinate the Pope 2 years earlier. Unfortunately, that development proved fruitless as well. It has since been suggested that the Rome-based crime syndicate Banda della Magliana kidnapped Orlani to force the Vatican to pay them back for an outstanding loan. The girlfriend of the leader of that criminal organization, Enrico de Pedres, later claimed that de Pedres told her that Orlandi was indeed kidnapped and killed. The most hair-raising theories, however, claim that the Vatican, local police, and high-profile lawmakers kidnapped Orlandi and forced her into sexual servitude. At least,
Oh no.
at least this is what the Vatican's chief exorcist, Father Gabriel Amorth, believes. Amorth was appointed by Pope John Paul II himself. This was a crime with a sexual motive, Amorth insisted. Parties were organized with a Vatican gendarme?
Yeah, so that's
Gendarme?
the Swiss Guard?
Yeah, okay, yeah, thank you. Acting as the recruiter of the girls. The network involved diplomatic personnel
Oh shit.
from
No,
a...
that's not what I was thinking then. That's even worse. That's even worse. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
You're fine. Involved diplomatic personnel from a foreign embassy to the Holy See. I believe Emanuela ended up as a victim of this circle. In 2019, a promising tip suggested that Orlandi had been buried in a Vatican tomb. Tragically, this tip too yielded no results. Her family has organized demonstrations in recent years, hoping to spur a renewed investigation into her unsolved disappearance, but so far to no avail.
So this was very recent. I say very recent because that's a handful of years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years was the last 2019. So
Yeah.
okay, I have a lot to hold on, I'm processing. Okay. This is a person who is still missing right
Yes.
now. And first, my heart goes out to the family. Absolutely. I hope that I hope nothing terrible happened to this person and that maybe they just went and decided to live their best life. I I know that that's
Mm-hmm.
very naive of me. That is what I would like to believe happened. It's kind of like when your cat runs away and
Yes.
your parents know that it got hit by a car, but you're like, "No, I'm sure Harley's out there just living his best life." Like, nah, he's probably dead. But I don't that sounds heartless. I don't God, I'm bad at words. I am not handling this well. Okay. There is a lot going on with this because I
There
don't want to be
is.
insensitive, but also a lot of that is it sounds fucking crazy. That sounds so crazy. That's crazy. That sounds okay. Let me see if I fully understand. Let me bridge note it. Young
Okay.
girl goes to music school. How old was she when she was missing?
I think it said 15.
15. And that was in
See, she disappeared on June 22nd, 1983. She was
okay, so
born...
she would be maths.
Yeah, she was 15 at
30,
the time.
so she'd be 39 now.
Yes.
Okay. So that's okay.
No, she'd be older than that because she was born in 68.
Oh, fuck. I don't know how time works.
And I'm in my 40s and was born in 79. So let's see. Should be 54.
Oh shit. Okay, that changes my. Oh, okay. So she's. I mean, it's not unheard of for people. I mean, you hear about it where people have been missing for decades, and then they
Yeah.
just kind of like pop up. And they're like, "No, just kidding." Like, I full
Yeah.
on believe that Tupac is still alive, and like, I realize that's also a crazy thought, but I just wanted to like throw that out there. So like, I fully like, I want to believe that she's out there and that nothing bad happened, or like, if something bad happened, that she got out.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
because that's fucking heavy.
Yeah,
So she
missing for
goes.
39 years. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot of time. So went to a music lesson, and then I should have pegged the time frame because you said Avon, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
when the fuck did when did Avon? Because like you can't. I mean, you can. I'm sure they still exist.
Oh,
Does
they do.
yeah? Okay. Cool. 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 All right. I'm not full of shit. Um. No, but like, because I remember as a kid, and when I say as a kid, I mean sometime in the last amount of time. I can't remember. Time doesn't
Uh,
work well with I don't understand how time works. Um
th-
like I
I'm right there with
remember
you.
yeah, I remember as a kid like Avon wasn't like a set job anymore. They had reps that
Yep.
would go and do this, but at one point they did have like an Avon counter places. So you would go and you would have a physical location to work at. But that was way back.
Yeah, see, this one
Hi
just
Shadow.
says job offer from a representative of Avon Cosmetics. So
Which sounds here's if it wasn't
it
Avon.
sounds like one of the people that goes door to door.
Yeah.
Hey, what if it was that? What if it was somebody else pretending to be
I
that?
mean, okay, so there's a lot there. Um damn. Okay. And then so we go from the situation where a young girl would potentially be going door to door to she's gone. Somebody's trying to leverage her being missing
Mm-hmm.
to set free a political someone in prison for attempting an assassination
Mm-hmm.
um of the Pope at the time because of did I understand mafia money? I but it was all a front and all of this was a front because it was organized. I my brain is broken. You broke my brain right off. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, it was for to pay back an outstanding loan from the mafia, from the Italian mafia. Yeah.
That doesn't see on the one hand I'm like brain gone, no thoughts. Head empty, no thoughts. No, jeez.
It's not that. It's you've got too many thoughts.
Too many thoughts. Break me off a piece of that soggy organ. That's correct, brother. Oh my. Okay. I'm not trying to solve it, but also it is entirely possible that the phone call the parents received had nothing to do with the daughter being missing. It was a phone call of opportunity that it could have
Mm-hmm.
been. Like they don't have to be linked because you see this all the see I keep saying you see this all the time. I don't that's but
It's
like it's
seen
not
quite often.
it's not unheard of for other people to take someone's suffering and try to gain something from it. So if
Sadly.
these people who made the call were aware that there was a missing persons out, they could just be like, "Oh yeah, like do it up. We would like our homie out of jail for doing a bad because he was bad, but we would like him out, and like we'll give you your daughter back." But
Yeah.
dude, that snowballed so out of control very fast. Like I was not prepared. You, you fucking bamboozled me. Oh my god.
You're welcome.
It's a missing persons, the Vatican City. Oh, that's cool. Surprise. Um, so at this point, she would be in her 50s if she
Mhm.
is still alive. The last update that they had was 3 years ago. And at that point, the the tip was where her body was.
Yes. And
Was it an anonymous tip? I feel like you told me and I just blanked it.
uh, let's see the way they worded it in this one.
I know you're like
Just says a
combing through articles.
promise.
I'm so sorry.
It just says a promising tip. It doesn't say if it
They're not
was
telling who the
anonymous.
tipster is.
Yeah. Um,
That's
let's see.
sus.
Okay, so that tip was in 2019, and over here it says on July 10th of 2019, it was announced that the Vatican would be opening 2 tombs inside Vatican City, which would then be exhumed by a forensic anthropologist. Uh,
To
they
determine if
were
the
the
bones were hers.
Yeah, the tombs were the Tomb of the Angel, meant to contain the remains of Princess Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to even try to read where she's from because it's a German principality.
Okay,
So I ain't gonna try it.
that's
And the
fair.
adjacent one, which was meant to contain the remains of Duchess Charlotte Frederica of Mecklenburg Schwerin.
Okay.
The exhumations took place on July 11th. Neither Emanuela's body nor the bodies of the 2 princesses said to be buried there were found.
Oh shit.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
worse. It's even worse.
It
Okay.
gets worse.
How the fuck
Um,
does it keep getting worse? Okay. I'm
according,
sorry.
according to a report on July 13th, the Vatican announced that the 2 sets of bones had been found near the tombs of the 2 princesses, raising speculation that one might be the remains of Orlandi. The bones were discovered as staff probed other locations ugh, in which the princess's remains may have been moved within the cemetery of the Pontifical Teutonic College. Further inspection of the site revealed 2 ossuaries placed beneath the floor of an area inside the college closed by a trapdoor.
Okay.
On July 20th, it was announced that the tombs had actually been found to be empty. Uh, the first July search only deepened the mystery as even the bones of the 2 princesses were thought to be missing. Thousands of human bones belonging to dozens of bodies were, however, found on July 20th in the
Fuck.
underground ossuaries. Forensic investigators were to analyze the remains and were expected to use carbon 14 methods to obtain a rough estimate of their age.
Okay,
So
so
there,
they were trying to carbon date the bones individually to map out how long
mhm,
they had been there.
yeah. So as of what we know so far, she's still missing, and now that's opened up a whole nother can of worms at the Vatican. Because now
Yeah, because
bodies aren't where they're supposed
I
to be.
really don't believe. Because here's the thing. This is the thing I know in the recesses of my brain, which is a soggy organ right now. So thank you for that, brother. I appreciate you. Um, so Vatican City is its own. It's its own thing. It's its own like sovereign. I may be wrong, but I feel like it's
Mhm.
its own thing.
It
Like
is.
it's not technically a part. It doesn't answer to Rome. I don't believe.
No, it's a part of Rome, but it is
It's its own
um,
sovereign situation.
it's its own sovereign nation within Rome. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Okay. So I was right. If that's correct. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Now.
the fact that they were like, yeah, like if you think she's here and that's where you say she is, come on in. Like that to me is like, okay, well, why would they put themselves on blast unless they were confident she wasn't there? Because why would she be there? But on the other
Yeah.
end of that, um, so we go from maybe remains to there's going to be 2 remains. We know for sure there might be a third. To
Yeah.
0 remains. to, oh, we looked over in this corner and there are thousands of remains. Probably said hundreds.
Yes.
But like, what? Okay.
Yeah, it says thousands of human bones
Jeez.
belonging to dozens of bodies. So yeah, you were pretty close at either way.
So,
But yeah, I also found that Netflix last month put out a four-part documentary series on it. So I'll
really?
definitely be looking more into that. Oh yeah. In October of 2022, Netflix released a four-part docu-series entitled "Vatican Girl: The Disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi." It explores different theories surrounding Orlandi's disappearance with a focus on exploring theories involving the Vatican and organized crime.
So, I really hope that Netflix donates any proceeds from that to the search for truth, because I
Yes.
would I would honestly feel like that would be the correct thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I know if it was me doing it, I would.
Same. Wow. Okay. What an opener. Wow. Okay.
Gotta start strong.
You gotta start strong. Damn. Okay. Wow. Um, so I mean, obviously, if people, I don't know who will see this eventually, but if you see the Netflix thing or you see this or you know some shit, say something. Call somebody. I don't know who you call, but I'm sure the internet's a beautiful place. I believe in you. Oh, okay. God, brain immediately. Um, I wanted to talk
I'm
about
gonna.
national parks.
Ah, and I found it. Add it to my list. Okay, now it's on my list,
Yeah,
so I can
yeah,
watch it.
for sure. Oh my goodness. Um, yes, I wanted to talk about national parks in the United States because
Okay.
there are a lot of national parks. I don't remember the actual number, but what I do know, net hey,
Hey, yes, yes.
we
There
get
we
it.
go.
Yes, get them, Beer Trash Panda. Also, hello, real quick, how was your subathon? I wasn't able to stay the entire time, but I tried my hardest. If I say it enough times, they might see it.
They might.
Maybe. I don't know how that works. Um, because I'm in rare form today. Beautiful. Beautiful. I hope you're doing well. I hope Ransom's doing well. Yeah, I wanted to
I
talk about national parks. You started came real strong with that. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
I saw that and I'm like, okay, if I just mention it this way, she'll get into the idea and then
So
I'll
you
really
came
sink her
into
in.
this planning to bamboozle me. You're like, gonna misdirect her over here, and then bam. Oh, I can't even be mad. Like, good job. You did a great job.
I don't get to do it very often, so
That's fair. That's fair and reasonable. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about national parks in the United States. Because there's a bunch of them.
there is. We've got
Bunny
a lot
got
of
got,
national parks.
absolutely. She's filming for YouTube's All's Good Here. Excellent, excellent. We'd love to see it. Um, now I have to know because that's the one thing I actually didn't even look up, and you'd think I would because I did this all in like 2 days because I'm really good. How many national parks are there? Boom, nailed it. So there are the national park system consists of 423 units, often referred to as parks. Um, More than 150 related areas or like adjacent areas, and they also have like a bunch of programs and stuff. So again, 423 national parks in the United States, and people go missing. People go missing. Unfortunately, that's kind of why we're doing this. People go missing every day. It sucks, and hopefully they get found. Hopefully, it's not a bad situation. Unfortunately, that's not the world we fully live in. So not
Yep.
every story is gonna have a happy ending. Um, but if you had to guess, just like spitball it, how many people do you think go missing in national parks a year?
Per year.
Yeah, just like just
Um,
guesstimate. You have 423 parks, 365 days a year. Rough estimate.
I would say close to probably about 2,800.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's higher than. So here's the thing. Actually, this is beautiful. So they don't have an actual number.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they don't have an actual number. Now, some experts wanna, and when I say experts, I mean the people who look into this type of situation, statisticians. However, I couldn't find a specific like point person to be like, this dude who knows all of the stuff has all of the beautiful spreadsheets and is making a PowerPoint. Um,
Hmm.
there is no PowerPoint, but the closest estimate that they could like guesstimate could be about 1,600 people. So that's 400 per park per year, guesstimated.
Wow.
That's over a person a day
You would think they
in
would
each park.
track the number a little better.
In each park, one person goes a day, give or take half a person. If
Yeah.
you're guesstimating, you would think they would track better, but I mean these are open spaces. Like the Grand Canyon is a national park. Um,
There's been a lot
like
of
some of
people
them are
lost to the
like
Grand
there are
Canyon.
national forests that are part of the park services. Um, I mean the park services, if I'm not mistaken, I might be completely wrong. I'm spitballing at this point, but I believe it was one of the like the national parks and forestry services was something that um our favorite hunk of history, Teddy Roosevelt, put in place. I may have this wrong. If Al is somewhere in chat or if someone can summon her, she will know the answer. If it was him. If it's somebody else, I don't know. But if it was him, she'll know. Um, as a part of like, maintaining the beautiful nature of
Woodrow
things.
Wilson.
Woodrow Real thank you. Okay, well I was wrong. Woodrow Wilson, he was the dude in the chair. No. Yes. No. I always get presidents confused.
No, I think
People
one of
walk
the
into the woods
Roosevelts was in
with
the
their
chair.
kids, and sometimes they don't leave with their kids. Damn. No, that's real shit. That is. It's.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. That I really is. Um, and it's hard, especially because some parts, I don't think all of them do, but some have some form of like camping around. I mean, there's
Hmm.
so many different like degrees of park and park adjacent property that they would consider um a part of the park programs.
Yes. And quite a few of them do have
Yeah,
either
like
tent
camp.
camping or RV parks. They'll have official campgrounds, and then there's the unofficial campgrounds.
When you're just like hiding in the bush,
Yeah.
bush camping.
So, yep.
I think we've all been there.
I know I
I
would.
used to, I honestly I love camping. I need to go more.
I
I'm in a
love
beautiful
camping.
place now. I really should.
I've
Um,
got the Rocky Mountains right up over here, so next year I'm going camping.
absolutely. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice Bobby when there's a grizzly. Oh, dude, listen. We could do a whole segment about bears. I would love to do this at some point. I gotta rein it in though, because I'm about to start doing that thing where I'm suddenly the girl on the internet going bear facts. We don't need that right now. We're gonna talk to me later about this, and I will tell you all of the bear facts and how to
Right.
survive, which unfortunately is very similar to what you got. You don't have to be faster than a bear. If you think you're gonna, just real quick, if you think you're going to outrun a bear, you're not. They are crazy fast, way faster than you would expect them to be. Um, so depending on the type of bear, the situation you're in, and your like immediate area is going to determine how you're going to survive, like your best course of action. Because there are so many variables to take into account. Is that bear alone? Because if it's got a kid with it, like some bears will tree their cubs before they wreck your shit. Some bears are like, oh no, I want Junior to see this. Like they get very protective. Some bears aren't that protective. It's hit or miss, and it also depends on again region. Um, Mountain
Also,
lions, cougars, and bears. Oh my.
also, don't try to climb a tree to get away from a bear. Bears are excellent tree climbers, and if they can't climb the tree, they can hug it and push it over,
Some bears.
as my
Other
dad found out.
yes. Some bears are like that. Other bears are not fans of trees. Again, variables. There are variables to take into
Yeah.
consideration. Whenever you're going into the woods, it's a good idea to understand the type of like fauna and that you're gonna run into, or you may potentially
Yes.
run into. Um,
Yep.
like growing up, we'd carry jars of pennies, tin cans of pennies with
Mm-hmm.
us. Because the rule was, you get big, you shake the pennies, the bear fucks off. You don't have to outrun the bear. You just have to outrun the people with you. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Ouch.
The other thing is, if you are going to try to outrun a bear, don't run uphill. They're really good at uphill. Run downhill.
No, that's terrible. Oh my god, inertia. Okay. Oh, we're getting way out. We got derailed. We got derailed. National
Pause,
parks,
rewind.
everyone. We made it a total of how long? 40 minutes before we got derailed? That's a new record. I'm pretty sure. Um, according to the National Crime Information Center, uh, thousands of people go missing every day just in the United States. Um, Many of them, again, like we said, 1.5 per park or something like that. Uh, they go missing there too. There's also that darker side that these people go missing. There's a lot of different variables that can be taken into consideration. Accidents happen in the wilderness. Um, Exposure is a real bitch. It'll take you out real fast. And again, if you're dealing with a place that has fauna, has animals there that are like, tasty, like you may not get found. You may get eaten. It sucks. It's always good to be aware of your surroundings. And there's of course other weird, mysterious things that can't be explained, which is why I want to talk about the national parks. I have the first one I have is from 1938. Fun fact from the bearded raccoon, not everyone is reported. That is also true. That is also true. The thousands a day in the United States are from reported ones. And I want to just stress this enough because we did this last time and I'm going to keep doing it. If you suspect someone in your life has gone missing, I don't know where people got this idea where you have to wait X amount of hours to fucking report that shit. I'm personally gonna tell you, like, I normally am not a fan of calling the cops. However, if someone's missing, let people know. Get in, like, the sooner you're on that, the sooner they can hopefully find them. Especially if it's a child. If it's a child, absolutely get everybody on that.
Yeah, because the first 24 hours are the most vital.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about real quick before I we keep getting derailed, but it's also like this. So, um, humans are, I think it's endurance hunters, or I can't remember. It's persistent hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So, animals like lions or whatever, they can hunt because they get jolts of energy because they eat a bunch of food, they've got it in their tummies, and they like live off that energy for a while, and they get bursts of energy. They can run a bit, but then they get winded. People can just be walking. Um, the average walking speed or the average walking stride a person can cover in, let's say, 16 to 18 hours, like when someone would be walking before they'd want to take a nap, is about 25 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So your radius gets bigger the longer it is in the wilderness. So, yeah, absolutely. Want to report that immediately. If you suspect someone's been missing, do it. This
No.
one's from 1938, and it does involve a child, and I'm so sorry if that is
Oh.
like that's something you guys are sensitive to. Um, I can drop like the word safe when we're done talking about it. Um, so this is Alfred Beilhardt. On July 3rd of 1938, Alfred Edwin Billhart mysteriously disappeared from the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. He had been on a vacation with his family, and while hiking with his parents, he fell behind on the trail and vanished. So 83 years later, the authorities, people who investigate this stuff, have no idea whatever happened to him. They still don't know. This is still unsolved. He was 4 years old when he went missing. They had been camping near the Fall River Lodge inside the park. The father woke up early to wash up at the stream nearby, and Alfred followed him. They were then accompanied by two family friends who were also camping there. And when they were going to get them, the little boy ran to them. When these other two people returned, they realized that Alfred was not with them anymore. They had the authorities that sent out an extensive search party to look for the boy, in the stream, believing he may have slipped and drowned. They based their search on the tips from other campers who thought they had seen him, but they never found him, found out what happened, nothing. So they never recovered a body, they never recovered him, and they never got any type of lead on what ever happened to him. This is just like you said. Sometimes people go in with their kids and they don't come out with them. It's not really mysterious, but it's definitely sad.
It is and it isn't, because he was seen going towards
two people who were friends of the family,
and then just wasn't seen again. When they saw him later, the kid wasn't with him.
Yeah. Which
so it leads me to wonder: were they actually friends? Was there something? Did they do something?
That's a valid thought. And I'd be willing to buy into. Again, they never found anything, nothing, and they did extensive searches. The issues that I see with this, things that lead credence to that idea, is the first thing I think of is in the 1980s, people were told it was a very big stranger danger is serious. Kids, don't trust strangers because they'll freaking kidnap you. All sorts of crazy shit. And they instilled this fear in kids that they would get nabbed up by some dude in the shadows, and to be always head on a pivot. If you don't recognize a person, you gotta stay clear of them. However, that initiative, teaching kids that, actually led to more child abductions, because the majority of child abductions take place from people who know the kid.
Yeah.
So these parents were always aware of their surroundings when there were other people who were strangers involved, but they had their guard down when kin, friends of family, people they deemed to be safe were around. So it is entirely possible that these two individuals who were friends of the family may have had something to do with whatever happened to him. We still don't know what happened to him.
No. And even the park rangers that know the forested areas the best, there's still areas of the park that even they don't know about.
No, for sure.
All the national parks. He could have, ended up down in a cave that they didn't know went as far back as it did.
Dude, no, there are so many. The amount of cave systems that have been unexplored just anywhere. Pick a state, pick a region where there are caves. Guarantee you there's cave systems there that nobody's seen that exist. That mine shafts, people fall down on. Gone. Easy.
And
gone.
The thing with 4-year-olds, they're extremely curious.
Absolutely.
Overly curious sometimes.
And it's heartbreaking. Yeah, there are tons of caves around here that are completely not mapped out.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
it's like up here in the Rockies, we've got thousands of caves, hundreds of mines, and
They get
yeah,
closed off due to disrepair, and then the markings go down. They get thrown over. No one sees it's there until they're down.
yeah, yeah, and who knows when a sinkhole's gonna pop in on top of one of them, and you step on it, and just poof, gone.
Yeah, there is a cave right down the road that has tours, and there are parts in that cave that have not been that that have not been like people haven't been able to haven't been in it and explored it. Um, there's a lot of reasons. I actually fell asleep to a caving documentary like 3 weeks ago. Zombie woke up and he's like, "Why are you watching this?" Like came out, I was like, "Why are you watching this?" I'm like, "I don't know. It was playing on YouTube." um, caves in the field across the street from us, and there are likely caves on the property, probably under it. Yeah, that tracks.
This makes me want to come visit you guys more.
Yeah,
I love exploring caves.
I'm claustrophobic, but like if it gets too tight, I'll leave. But like, I like a good little adventure. But the other thing that kind of fucks me up on this is that because of the space they were in a big park, big forested
Mhm.
area. There was river, and because of the space, they had to kind of bottleneck their search efforts to a space where they had last seen him, and
Mhm.
based on the tips that other campers were providing.
The other thing, the fact that it's got a river in it also raises some questions because was it somebody that just came in, saw him by himself, and took off with him in a boat?
Yeah, I
At
mean,
that
there's
point,
there's
you have to extend the search radius even more.
another thing, and this is just my brain because um the last time I talked about national parks, it was during a cryptid talk with Jotun. Um, so my brain is also like Sasquatch. Bigfoot did this. Maybe he
Mm.
didn't. Maybe it was his homie. But like there's absolutely creatures out there that if there are spots in that forest that we haven't seen, it's entirely possible there are creatures out there that haven't been identified. That's like a
Mm.
scientific fact. They're identifying new insects, flora, fauna every day.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. In 1938, there could have been something out there. Maybe it's not there anymore, but we have no real way of knowing, and that's honestly probably the scariest part. And I feel so bad for his family, and I hope that he was okay. But we don't know that. That's the one. That's the first one I had. Hopefully you have one that's not gonna break my brain again.
I wouldn't guarantee it. Um,
Oh,
but before I do go on to my next one, I also want to, you know,
fairy rings. Oh my god, yes.
very
Zombies
real
and
things.
yeah, fairy rings are real. That's real shit.
I do also want to put out there, if you see somebody or you've heard somebody or heard about somebody and have any type of information, at least reach out to your local police because
Yeah.
they'll know who to put you in contact with.
I mean, it
You know,
sucks. It's on the one hand, it sucks for them to have to sort through all those tips, but if that leads to someone getting home safe, do
they'd
it.
rather sort through the tips than not get them at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next one is uh, considered the most heavily reported missing person case in modern history. And
You've got me intrigued.
it's actually quite modern.
Okay.
The mysterious disappearance of Madeleine McCann in 2007 continues to baffle investigators to this day. The British 3-year-old vanished while on vacation with her family in Portugal and is now considered the most heavily reported missing person case in modern history, and for good reason. So yes, unfortunately, it is another child.
Oh my god.
Um,
If you're sensitive to that, I could type in when we've done talking about the things we do know. Before we get to conjecture, I'll type in safe.
yeah. All right. The story of Macan's mysterious disappearance began on the night of May 3rd, 2007, at a resort in Praia de Luz, Beach of Light, in Portugal. Kate and Gary McCann left Madeline and her two twin siblings asleep in their rental apartment at the resort, which was on the ground floor, and went to have dinner with friends at a nearby tapas restaurant. The adults returned 2 hours later at 10 p.m. to find their eldest child gone. Now, I'm going to pause right there because the first thing that goes as a parent, I don't care if my kid, the oldest one is 3 years old, you don't leave them alone. I don't care if they're asleep or not. You don't leave your kids alone. No.
That's fair.
Uh, okay, so later, McCons remembered how their daughter had asked them over breakfast the morning of her mysterious disappearance, "Why didn't you come when my brother and I cried last night?" The devastated parents were then led to believe that someone uninvited may have been in their apartment, and maybe even more than once. I,
Oh,
yeah, the fact that there's
the
a
unpaid
possibility that
babysitter
somebody's
strikes
been
again.
there. Yeah. One of the first promising suspects in McConn's missing person case was 33-year-old Robert Murat. The British Portuguese real estate consultant not only lived nearby, but a man matching his description was seen around 9:15 p.m. on the night of McCann's disappearance, walking toward his home carrying a child. But the Portuguese police cleared him when they found no evidence of his involvement with the children. Next, the McCons themselves were added to the list of suspects. Some investigators posited that Madeline McCon actually died in the Praia de Luz apartment, and that her parents fabricated this narrative of a child abduction in order to cover it up. This theory seemed to hold some water, considering the fact that dogs were brought on the scene, seemed curiously alert inside the apartment and around the McCon family car. Alas, no body was ever found. The grieving parents were officially removed as suspects in 2008, and the missing person case grew to become an unprecedented media phenomenon in the United Kingdom. Ever since a 2009 report found that the region of Portugal in which McCann went missing was awash with pedophiles, many have posited that the toddler was abducted by local sex traffickers. There are 38 known sex offenders in the Algarve, the report went on. The area is a magnet for pedophiles.
Jeez.
In an ominous turn of events, former MP Sir Clement Freud,
Spell it.
Freud,
Freud.
Freud, who had a home nearby and knew the McCons, was later outed as a pedophile. From later claims that Hillary Clinton's campaign advisor, John
Oh,
Podesta,
jeez. What the Really?
and his brother snatched the girl from her home to theories she simply walked off. McConn's mysterious disappearance has never been solved. Whether by accidental death, sex trafficking, or abduction, McConn's remains one of the strangest missing person cases in modern history.
So this was just a little bit ago.
I mean, yeah, it very recent.
Okay.
You knew I was going to throw something in there. It's going to get you.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I just
I'm
that's I mean, again, stuff like that, it's read the registration list before moving into an apartment complex. Yo, that's actually solid advice. That is legit solid advice. Um, if they're registered, that's a solid strategy. Um, it's fucking conspiracy theories. And I know when people are in situations like that, when they have family missing, especially children, your very first thought is like, I need to find out. I need to just like spitball, throw some shit on the wall. Like any lead is a good lead.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there are crazies for sure.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. What do
sorry
we
for
have
my
here?
outburst. I'm gonna pull up something recent. Oh, sorry. um, so I did pull up to see if I could figure out where, like, which national parks, because I'm like on it with these. I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So the reported incidents, out of two parks, between 2008 and 2018 and 2020, they had between 732 in one park, Yosemite National, and 785 in the Grand Canyon National Park. Um, these
Yosemite's not too far from me.
That's right, better watch out. But also, these places are, parks. Everybody go, like, people go to them. Like millions of people go to the national parks every year. So it doesn't surprise me that again these numbers are huge. But the fact that that many go missing in the course of 2 years, that's like a person a park a day.
Yeah.
Um, and these places are between, you know, they're, some of these parks are smallish, but I mean, Yosemite is over 750,000 acres. Grand Canyon's over 1.6 million kilometers, like the whole thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
and there's so many things that could happen. Um, and then we also run into the issue with search and rescue bit that, again, they have so much space to cover, they don't have a lot of time to do it. And to Bearded Trash Panda's point earlier, not all not all missing people from who go missing in parks get reported.
Yeah.
I just thought that that was super interesting, and that was a thing I wanted to know real quick. I do have one from 2019.
Ooh.
It did get solved. I will say that, but it is on the list for ones that I found. Um, so in 2019, a woman, Rachel Lukaduk, went missing while hiking in the North Cascades National Park in Washington. She went on an adventure to celebrate her birthday, but she never went off. She never got off the mountain. Um, 2 years later, in 2021, they did find her body. After extensive search parties were put out. Um, but when she did originally go missing in October of 2019, she failed to show up at the cabin for her birthday party, and that's when her family reported her. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it took them again. It took them 2 years of extensive searches to find her, and the thought that they had is that exposure. She got caught in bad weather, and she was unable to safely get off the mountain.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, hopefully, this is the sad thing is that when people go missing in these parks, there's only so many things like why theories why that someone could go missing. The basic stuff. If you see hoof prints, you're not going to immediately think zebra. You're going to think it's a horse.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to think, oh, an animal ate them. They got caught in bad weather. They slipped and fell. They drowned. Something that seems very mundane. Um, but then if we broach into like the cryptid side of things, there are a lot of paranormal theories and theorists out there where cryptozoology and aliens and all of this other stuff could be a particular reason. Um, this one this one article actually specifically is trying to cite a windy boy. I'm not saying the name because I don't do that. We don't
Yeah.
speak the names of certain things because I'm not calling that shit to my house. Nice try. Um,
Right.
and you see this where people try to take like from Algonquin folklore, and then it gets kind of turned into something else. People don't fully understand it, and you see a lot of paranormal, not investigators, but paranormal theorists who will pose that as like, oh, this creature took this person. Um, but usually if they do find the person, it's very difficult to determine cause of death if they're dead because so much time has passed.
Yeah.
I call Winnie Boys to my house to kill coyotes. Modern problems require modern solutions. Don't do that though, for real. Um, and there's also a bunch of people, and I kept seeing this in like multiple things I was looking up, where
Mhm.
people were like, "It's the berries. The berries are doing it." Um,
Mm.
and like it like branched between like, oh, poison berries led to like illness, this, that, and the other thing. And like people get drowsy and then they drown or they fall and they hurt themselves and they wouldn't be able to get up. Um, or like we keep finding people in berry bushes. To this is fey food, and once you eat it, they take you,
No.
which is wild. And I do want to just quickly, I don't I'm feeling some type of way about the park ones because it's creepy, and I want to delve further into this, but I feel like I need to do it justice. I would need to do more research, so that's on me. But I do want
Ah.
to delve into a couple of gross overlooked things. You spend a long time in the woods alone, shit gets primal. That is for real. That is real shit.
Very quickly.
So there were a couple of points that Zombie brought up, because he and I have had discussions about this. Because I grew up again in like a very I grew up in a very cold climate. It was not uncommon for me to go and to just go walking in the woods for like 8 9 hours, come back, just like had no idea where the fuck I was because I'm also directionally challenged, like just wandering around having a grand old time. Um,
Mm.
I was like a kid doing this. Like me and my sister would go do this all the time. Have like zero bearing of where we're gonna go. Just be like, oh, I think it's this way. And we wander that way for a little bit. There's no real way you're gonna walk straight in a forest. If you think you are, you're lying to yourself. Uh,
If you think you are, you've never walked in one.
you've never walked in the woods. But no, so staircases in the woods that lead to nowhere.
Oh, I love those.
He brought that up. So aesthetically, the whole idea is like, oh, it's like there was a building here. It's so beautiful. Um, do you happen to know what a lot of those do you want to know what a lot of people think about that?
Hmm.
So a lot of people actually think it's like a vanishing thing. So like you go to the top of the steps and then if you walk, you disappear from this plane of existence. Whether you go to like a different dimension, the Feywild, like there's so many different like, oh, it's spooky and it leads you to this. But I mean, if I had $1 for every time I heard a story about a friend who went walking in the woods, saw a staircase and was like, no, and then when they went back through, the staircase wasn't there, I'd have enough to buy a pack of cigarettes in New York. You can Google that. That's how I ended up here. Trash Panda, I love you. That's fantastic. But
It's
for
awesome.
sure.
It definitely fits.
That
I can
was
see why he fits in with us.
this is real. This is real. Um but no, it's actually so a lot of people will think that like, oh well, how do you get staircases? It must be a building or something, or like buildings that were then covered, but then, because of weathering, they become uncovered. Like stairwells, like cellars that get buried, and then like the rest of the cellar breaks down because of what it was built out of, but the stone stairs remain. So then when the earth erodes, the staircase is just still chilling there. It's wild.
It is wild.
And I know, I think in like a couple of years, I think it was a couple of years ago, there was a chick on TikTok who she went viral, I think, about something. And I know there's a lot of creepy pastas that have kind of sprung up around the idea in the last few years. I mean, I always knew as a kid, if you see a staircase, you leave the fuck alone
Mm.
because don't like if you see something weird in the woods, no, you didn't. You just mind your business.
Yeah, see, and I was the complete opposite. The things that weren't supposed to be there were the things I went to investigate more.
No, I've got final girl energy. Like, I'm not gonna get caught, not today, except for like that one. Like you bamboozled me, but I'm fine
Right
being
off the
bamboozled,
bat.
but I will stay safe. But no, like that's and it's not just like in one place. It's not in national parks. I know there are a lot of stairways in national parks that people will randomly uncover. There was actually a story about a veteran who he was walking through. He didn't see stairs, but he was seeing specific like markings on
Mm-hmm.
trees and stuff, and it was like a well-traveled path, like
Yeah.
markings on trees, not like painted or anything, like carved in and stuff. And on the way
Yeah.
back, all of the markings were gone,
Ah.
and like stuff like that to me. If it was the other way around, that'd be one thing, but shit does get weird in the woods.
It does. It does for sure.
But not all national parks are wooded. Some of them are pretty open spaces, desert type situation, canyons,
No,
waterfalls.
I prefer the wooded ones myself.
Same, absolutely. Woods over beach every day. But yeah, I'm gonna step away from the national parks for today. Personally, I've got other ones that are queued up that are not national park related. But I did want to again just bring it up just because of the sheer volume that I was seeing,
Mm.
and I'm still reeling about the first story. I'm so sorry.
We're gonna have to make sure when we do this again that we add in at least a couple from the national parks each time.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a way to do it. And oof, scurry. Your turn.
Well, okay. This next one that I've found is on a pilot. All
Okay.
right. Frederick Valentek was conducting a routine training flight over the Bass Strait between the Australian mainland and Tasmania on October 21st, 1978, when he mysteriously disappeared. The 20-year-old was an experienced pilot with around 150 hours of flying time under his belt and operating a light Cessna 182L when he vanished. Shortly after departing, Morabin for King Island, Valentech radioed the Melbourne Flight Service with an astonishing report. There was an unidentified aircraft trailing him at 4,500 feet. He
Aliens.
described its high speed and its four bright landing lights and said it had passed about 1,000 feet above him.
Okay.
Uh, Valentech even narrated the craft's movements for 5 minutes, positing that whoever was piloting the craft was toying with him. He said it was a shiny metallic vessel with a green light on it. Suddenly, Valentech experienced some harrowing engine trouble. When Melbourne Flight Service officials asked him one last time to describe the mysterious aircraft above him, he responded with some of the most ominous last words ever recorded. "It isn't an aircraft," he said. The transmission was suddenly cut off. The last thing Melbourne Flight Service officials heard was a metallic scraping sound.
No. No thank Oh, no thank you.
Authorities figured the pilot had crashed. However, a sea and air search yielded no sign of his plane. The missing person case was rather quickly closed, but 5 years later, an engine cowl flap matching Valentich's plane washed ashore on Flinders Island in Australia. Things got stranger when the pilot's father revealed that his son had been an ardent believer in UFOs and even actively worried about encountering one. In 2014, a UFO action group in Victoria claimed an unidentified farmer saw a 90-foot craft hovering above his farm the morning Valentich disappeared. The anonymous individual even stated that Valentich's missing plane was stuck to the side of this UFO. Unfortunately, the man's identity has yet to be revealed, and no further developments regarding Valentich's mysterious disappearance have sprung up ever since.
Okay. Man, where is Jotun when you need him with the logic? Jotun's always good with alien stuff. You remember you remember him with the alien stuff. He's so good at it. Aliens, absolutely. Aliens be like that. Do be like that sometimes. Extraterrestrials. So you said it was a 182 Cessna,
Yep.
and the craft that was above him was 1,000 feet up.
Uh, it had passed about 1,000 feet above him and was tailing him at 4,500 feet.
So, okay. Because I looked this up because I was like, I am curious. Curious.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cessna Skyline, in that make, couldn't even, its ceiling, its service ceiling, would be less, it would be just at like 18,000 feet from sea level. Any more than that, and you run into crazy engine trouble, like all sorts of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the theory that the alien people dudes have is that the 90-foot unidentified object that was floating, that was at some dude's farm earlier that day, or later
Mm-hmm.
that day, that had a Cessna pancaked on it. They think that's what it was. Because
Mm-hmm.
90 feet is a lot bigger than you would think.
Yeah. But yeah, he radioed Melbourne Flight Service at 7:06 p.m. to report that an unidentified aircraft was following him at 45,000 feet, 1,400 meters. He was told that there was no known traffic at that level.
So wait, so he told AFC he was 45,000 feet up.
Yeah.
Oh, then that's that doesn't track. That doesn't track.
Well, it says it was following him at that. He was
Oh,
unable
so
to
that was
confirm the
okay. So that
type,
was
but
tailing
said
him. Okay, so that
it
was
passed about 1,000 feet overhead, moving at a high speed.
okay. So if
So it
he
would
was
have put
at,
him at about 35,000.
that's still, that still doesn't add up. So
Yeah.
if it was tailing him and it was that far back and it was 90 feet, I could see how it would be misconceived as an aircraft until it got up to him, because things appear smaller in your mirror.
Yeah.
But there's no way that that plane could fly that high, so they'd have to have been tailing behind him. LSD and birds, facts.
Yeah,
That's
because he does report he was experiencing engine problems.
okay. So
So
if he
he might
was,
have been higher than he was supposed to be.
yeah, absolutely. Um, I don't. I actually, when I was younger, I was briefly in the civilian air patrol. Until they had like a crazy like, you have to run the mile in this many minutes, and it was like
Mm-hmm.
way faster than I was ever gonna fucking run it. And I was like, no, I'm out. Bye. But I feel like you need more than 100. It was 150 hours he had. I feel like you need more than that to. I mean, Cessnas are small planes to begin with.
Yeah,
These are not big planes. They're small. They're little, but not little. But you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like they are not. They're not big like jets. They're one to maybe four people max. You're gonna find.
yeah.
So they never found him, but they found the wing.
Yes.
Damn, that's scary though. Could you imagine being that air traffic control person on that call, like trying to remain calm, and then like
Right.
you hear them go, "It's not an airplane," and then the crunch.
Yeah. That would definitely be.
Could have hit a hot air balloon.
Could have.
Maybe.
Very well could have.
Are you straight up in my chat right now, Panda? Being like, no, it's not aliens, it's a weather balloon.
I think he is.
This is exactly. This is
Okay,
exact.
so some of the proposed explanations that have come
Yes.
up with. It's been proposed that Valentik staged his own disappearance, even taking into account a trip of between 30 to 45 minutes to Cape Otway. The single engine Cessna 182 still had enough fuel to fly 800 kilometers despite ideal conditions. At no time was the aircraft plotted on radar, so he was flying below radar as well. Casting doubts as to whether it was even near Cape Otway, the Melbourne police received reports of a light aircraft making a mysterious landing not far from Cape Otway at the same time of his disappearance. Another proposed explanation is that he became disorientated and was flying upside down. If this was the case, the lights he thought he saw would be his own aircraft's lights reflected in the water. He would then have crashed into the water. However, the model Cessna he was piloting could not have flown inverted for long as it has a gravity feed fuel system.
Yeah, and he was
Uh,
on the phone with them for like 5 minutes that
easily.
we know about.
Yeah. Another possibility is suicide. However, interviews with doctors and colleagues who knew him virtually eliminated this possibility. A 2013 review of the radio transcripts and other data by astronomer retired United States Air Force pilot James McGaw and author Joe Nickell proposed that the inexperienced Valentek was deceived by the illusion of a tilted horizon, for which he had attempted to compensate and inadvertently put his aircraft into a downward so-called graveyard spiral, which he initially mistook for simply orbiting of the aircraft. The g-forces of a tightening spiral would decrease fuel flow, resulting in rough idling. They also proposed that the apparently stationary overhead lights that Valentek reported were probably the planets Venus, Mars, Mercury, alongside the bright star Antares, which would have behaved in a way consistent with Valentek's description.
Okay.
Now, UFOologists have speculated that extraterrestrials either destroyed his aircraft or abducted him, asserting that some individuals reported seeing an erratic moving green light in the sky and that he was in a steep dive at the time. They believe these accounts are significant because of the green light mentioned in his radio transmissions. The specific group Ground Saucer Watch, based in Phoenix, Arizona of the U.S., claims that photos taken by plumber Roy Manifold on the day of his disappearance show a fast moving object exiting the water near Cape Otway Lighthouse. And according to UFO writer Jerome Clark, Ground Saucer Watch argued that they showed a bona fide unknown flying object of moderate dimensions, apparently surrounded by a cloud like vapor exhaust residue, although the pictures were not clear enough to identify it.
Okay.
It's the alien from Nope.
I mean, I mean, I think here's the weird thing. Here's the weird thing this is the part that's getting my brain and makes me want to believe it was a he dip dive and dodged out of there and like it was all a thing. He's specifically cited to have a fear of aliens abducting him
Yes.
specifically that's something they're mentioning.
Yes.
And then the theories either he did a downward spiral, like a grave spiral, and impact and was done,
Mm.
which in theory sounds good. It makes sense, but he was on the phone with traffic control that we know of. That time that they specifically stated was 5 minutes, but that was only for one part of the conversation towards the end.
Uh-huh.
So that leads me to believe the conversation was longer. You can't have a graveyard spiral, even from stealing at that point. I mean, if he's going 150, even, no, there's no way. He wouldn't have lasted that long, in my mind.
No.
Whereas, if you tell everybody you think aliens is going up to, and then suddenly your plane goes missing, and the last thing they heard was
A metallic
it's not a,
scraping sound.
yeah.
And it's not an aircraft. Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not being insensitive. I'm not trying to be insensitive. I honestly hope that he did dip dive and dodge and is living his best life.
When was this? It was October 21st of 1978.
Yeah.
But I have the feeling Trash Panda's going to do some digging too.
This is what we want. We love when before drones. Here's
Yes.
okay, before drones were common knowledge.
Yes, before official drones.
Just throwing that out there. I'm not paranoid, but also actually maybe if we can stretch on the one end where it's like I'm channeling the logic brain, like I can feel Ty and Newton's brain here going like logically you can't go from aliens to it's the government, but also which of those two makes more sense. And also it's weird, it's super weird.
Mm-hmm.
And be way more likely, given the time, the information we have available, that they didn't have him on radar. Which, if he was flying below radar, they may not have it.
Yeah.
But at that point,
Which, if he's flying below radar, he also wasn't anywhere near
high
35
enough to
or 45,000.
he wouldn't have had enough time if it was, again, especially with if it was inverted. He wouldn't have had enough time to describe what he's seeing inverted before the
Yeah.
engine would cease working and then he dropped. He wouldn't have had
Exactly.
time to have a lengthy conversation about the things he was seeing or to describe the particular idling as he was doing a graveyard dive. There wouldn't be enough time. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not good at math. However, even I know that 2 plus 2 does not equal fish. Like, it doesn't.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
I
Do I think aliens exist? Absolutely, I'm not an idiot. But like, do I think they care enough to come here? I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
mean,
Like, what the farmer is saying is that the 90-foot uh alien ride out in his cornfield was actually uh where they were trying to dump the ride after a hit and run. Like that doesn't track for me. With our modern technology versus alien technology back 30 years ago, I think he'd be toast before he made that call. Absolutely. Absolutely.
yes.
I actually agree with that. I agree with that, Panda. Yes. That's
I
solid.
mean, I agree with. I somewhat agree with the staging of his own disappearance,
Because it
and
makes
I
sense.
also somewhat agree with the alien abduction.
It's just so hella it's sus.
It
It's hella
is.
suspicious that you have a specific ass fear. That's like me saying, I am terrified of clowns. And then I go missing, but the last somebody knows is I shoot out a quick voice note and I go, "Oh my god, it has makeup on its face. This, it has strange markings on its face. Is that a horn?" Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, both of those would explain no aircraft being found. And at the same time, both could explain how um, 5 years later, the engine cowl flap washed ashore. Because they did do a sea and air search
Yeah.
and didn't find his plane, didn't find any parts of it.
I mean,
And
there's like
then,
so little of the ocean floor that's ever been discovered. And if it
true.
sank, the idea that the flap would come loose and float up and then be carried by the tide to a shore where someone would be able to identify and recognize that it belonged to his plane.
Hmm.
Like, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, all of these things, they have VINs, they've got all of that. And, FTC they have that information. So anybody has that. If they work there, they say, oh, this is part of a plane. Somebody would be able to look it up, obviously. So there's no. They found it in Queensland. Did I make that up? They found
Uh,
the part.
it
There's easier people to
was
capture versus the dude that types. Absolutely.
washed ashore on Flinders Island in Australia. But here's the thing: it's only the engine cowl flap. Not all of the pieces are necessary.
Not all the pieces are going to necessarily have the VIN on it.
Yeah, I mean, now if it was the tail flap,
Then yeah, for sure, would not even be
you'd be
questioning
able
it.
to say 100% yes, that was his. But somebody could have just thrown an engine cowl flap out there and said, "Oh, it's his." How did they actually know it was his?
Yeah. So they didn't say in the thing you were reading that, like when you were looking this up, they didn't have like, yeah, and we were able to determine. Like,
Nope,
it's sus. It's sus. I hope
it
he's
is.
okay. I just want
Yeah.
to believe
Well,
he's okay.
at this point, I'm hoping more for he staged his own disappearance because there was just something he wanted to get away from.
Yeah.
So, whew,
Or maybe it was aliens. Who knows? Who
who knows? Maybe.
knows? Maybe. Maybe. Um. So when I was pulling this up, Zombie and I briefly, because this has to do with a blimp, and this is a hot topic
Oh
where
yes.
we have that fucking argument like every couple of months. It's fine. It's fine. I mean,
Sorry.
so this was in 1942. There's a small town outside of San Francisco. Um, they saw something really strange in the sky. It was a sagging, broken looking blimp that was just falling out of the sky. On its way down, the blimp stopped on a rooftop, then ran into a group of power lines. The blimp's weight was enough to take down the power lines, causing a huge amount of damage to the surrounding area. Nearby citizens, of course, they were rushing to assist the crew of the blimp, only to discover that there was none. Everything within the blimp's cabin looked normal, with radio and engines functioning perfectly. Um, None of the parachutes or lifeboats were missing. Um, this was one that was very clearly it had to be manned by someone. It's something
Mhm.
very clear. Um, when the blimp had left the naval station that morning, it was crewed by two men, Lieutenant Ernest Cody and Ensign Charles Adams. The men were never seen from again, but the blimp had been repaired and then was continued to use for another 40 years. And that's it. That's all I got. But he saw the image and he was like, "Oh, you're gonna talk." He immediately assumed we were gonna talk about the blimp we fight about. Um,
um, Bunny, I hate to ask, but can we take a short
Absolutely, we can.
interval? Thank you.
Absolutely, we're gonna take a quick break. Um, then we're gonna get back to this. But yeah, we'll be right back. Bio break. Make sure you guys stretch.
Yeah, I'll be back in a second.
Hey,
Save this part so we have it for later.
that'll be a mouse tool for later. I hope everybody drank water or whatever they're hydrating with, took a good stretch, maybe
I
had a
do have
snack, maybe took a
a
pee.
couple more, so. Um,
So yeah, we left off on the unmanned blimp. So I don't know what happened there. It was really like it was so short, but like very to the point. Like they should have been there. Nothing was disturbed. Nothing was taken. It clearly like they didn't op out. The balloon just went down, and they were not there.
now,
Lasers.
so yeah, I'm gonna limit it to the last two. That way we have
Okay.
one more interesting and then our big closure.
Okay. So if you want to go next, and then I have one after you.
Okay. This one actually kind of hits a little close to home because the year it was.
Okay.
Um, it's the title of the article I found is "Inside the Haunting Disappearance of Etten Patz, one of the original missing milk carton kids." On May 25th, 1979, 6-year-old Eaton Patz disappeared in the Soho neighborhood of Manhattan in New York City. He was never seen alive again. Though it may now seem like a thing of the past, it wasn't too long ago that thousands of children's faces appeared on milk cartons across the U.S. under the bold black heading of missing. Yet, despite the immense research of the Missing Milk Carton Kids campaign, the fate of many of them remains unknown to this day. 6-year-old New Yorker Eaton Patz was one of the very first children to have his image plastered on the milk carton following his 1979 disappearance, and his case likewise went unsolved for almost 4 decades. But in 2017, a jury convicted the man believed to be responsible for Eaton Pat's disappearance, closing the case. As a suspect is now behind bars, the 40-year story behind the disappearance of Eaton Pat's remains as haunting as ever. He was only 6 years old when he left his Soho, Manhattan home on Friday, May 25th. That day, shaggy-haired, blue-eyed boy wore a black Eastern Airlines cap and striped sneakers. He packed an elephant-covered tote bag with his favorite toy cars, took $1 to buy a soda, and stepped outside onto New York's familiar streets. It was the first time that he had successfully convinced his mother, Julia Patz, to let him walk the 2 blocks to the bus stop by himself. Unbeknownst to her, it would be the last time she would ever see her son.
That's awful.
Um, New York Police Department spared no expense, dispatching 100 officers with bloodhounds and helicopters to search for the boy. They went neighborhood to neighborhood and door to door, conducting room by room searches. Uh, Photos of him were splashed across televisions, plastered on telephone poles, beamed from the screens of Times Square, and eventually printed on milk cartons in every state. He wasn't the first missing milk carton kid. This tactic had started a couple years earlier in the Midwest when 2 boys had gone missing in Iowa. But his disappearance in particular, so quick, so senseless, and so permanent, had captured the attention of parents and children far beyond New York and brought the milk carton campaign to national
Yeah.
attention. In 1983, President Reagan even designated May 25th, the day of Eaton Pat's kidnapping, National Missing Children's Day. His case then inspired the founding of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in '84. The organization quickly adopted the Iowa milk carton strategy, making Pat's the first child to be featured in a national campaign. At the time, a full 5 years had passed since his disappearance. Most of the leads had already gone cold. A fresh wave of concern and suspicion swept the country as the faces of more vanished children began appearing on pizza boxes, utility bills, grocery bags, telephone directories, and more. Occasionally they worked. Uh, but those instances were rare, and the major impact of the photos was spreading awareness that the world was not happy, wholesome place that many Americans believed it to be. Again, stranger danger became a common topic in homes and schools. Um, but even as Eric Patz's name became inextricable from warnings about pedophiles and murderers, his actual fate remained a mystery. As decades went by, law enforcement continued to investigate his disappearance throughout the 80s and 90s. Clues took them as far as the Middle East, Germany, and Switzerland. In 2000, investigators searched the New York basement of Jose Ramos, a convicted child molester who previously had a relationship with one of Patz's babysitters. But after 8 hours of scavenging, they didn't find any evidence, of course. And then in 2001, 22 years after his disappearance, he was declared legally dead. His father sought the declaration in order to file a wrongful death suit against Ramos, who was convicted in a civil case in 2004 but never admitted to and never officially tried to regard the boy's murder.
Yeah, if you try something civilly, you can't try it criminally.
Yeah. In 2012, police realized that Othniel Miller, a handyman who had known Eaton Pads, had poured a concrete floor shortly after the boy's disappearance.
Oh my god, no.
They did some digging and again turned up nothing, thankfully. The excavation did, however, reignite media coverage of the case, and a few weeks later, authorities received a call from one Jose Lopez, who claimed his brother-in-law, Pedro Hernandez, was responsible for Eaton's death. On the fateful morning of his disappearance, Hernandez had been an 18-year-old stock clerk in a grocery store on Prince Street, not far from his home. A few days after Eaton went missing, Hernandez moved back to his hometown in New Jersey. Soon after, he started telling people he'd killed a child in New York.
What
Crying
the fuck?
Right?
What the
Why go around telling people?
Why do I can't I don't understand.
Why do it in the first place?
I don't understand people. What the fuck?
Crying, he confessed to his church group, his childhood friends, and even to his fiancée. But it wasn't until after his brother-in-law made the call that Hernandez confessed to the police. Says he lured him into the store's basement, explains how he killed him. I'm not going to go into that. No.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
Did say that he put him in a plastic bag inside a box and threw him away.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah. I hadn't actually fully read all the way down on this, so yeah.
You don't, yeah,
No.
People, I try to believe that people somewhere deep down inside are all good. But the fuck?
The part that pissed,
How?
the part that really makes me angry was he was only sentenced to 25 years.
The fuck?
Yeah. 25 years to life on April 18th of 2017. He will be eligible for parole at that 25-year mark. I'm sorry. People that do that, no. They should never walk the streets again.
No. Sorry, I just said a lot of bad words in like succession. How you gonna go almost like 40 years, 30 years without you did the worst awful thing.
Yeah.
And then you wait that long until you're already essentially caught to own up to it.
Okay, that one brought me to tears.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that part.
We're gonna talk about some hiking accident. That's how we're gonna
Yeah.
segue out of that.
Yeah.
Oh my
let's
god.
do that.
Woo! Hiking accident. Y'all ready for some? We're just gonna sorry if anyone got really upset, because I'm upset. I'm mad. We're gonna talk about a group of college kids who who went hiking. But when they found them, they were slaughtered and scattered across the landscape. It's okay. Don't worry. This will make us feel better. God, I'm so fucked up. So in the winter of 1959, 9 grad students, 2 women and 7 men, they decided to set off on, a skiing, hiking expedition in the Ural Mountains. But they never came home. Uh, Igor Dyatlov, who after whom the case is named, like colloquially, organized the trip to explore the Otteran mountain slopes in the northern part of the Ural Range. The plan was that these were experienced hikers and skiers out of the Soviet wilderness. They were going to go January 27th, 1959. Originally, it was going to be 10 people, but it looks like one of them actually dropped out at the last minute because they were sick. So this team of 9 decided to just continue on their expedition. They were going to go trekking. They were going to go through a pass. However, there were some worsening snowstorms, bad visibility, so they lost their direction. They lost like where they were going, and decided to set camp on the eastern slope of the mountain. That same night, all 9 members died under mysterious circumstances. The Dyatlov party had informed some of their peers that they had hoped to return around February 12th, um, but that it was expected to take a little bit longer because the expeditions often experience delays, weather. Um, there wasn't an immediate reaction when the 12th passed and they hadn't contacted anyone. A few days after that, um, their relatives got really worried and a rescue group was formed and sent to the location. February 26th, a search party found the group's campsite, and investigators found that the group's tent had been sliced open from the inside. It was apparent that the tents were quickly abandoned as their belongings had been left inside. The party was also, they found footprints from 8 or 9 people heading in the direction of a tree line. The group's shoes were also left behind. The footprints that they found uh, confirmed that some walked with socks on while others were barefoot. The investigators followed the tracks leading towards the forest, and that's when they found them. At the forest's edge, searchers discovered that the first 2 bodies, those of looks like Krivenets, cannot say that. Super sorry. These 2 names, I'm gonna copy pasta them because I can't speak today, and I love you all, and I don't want to butcher these people's names. Um, they were found shoeless, and wearing only their underpants. At the time of their death, it would have been about -30 Celsius, so
Ooh.
-22 Fahrenheit. For those of you who use freedom height, um, within 3 weeks, the investigators had found the other. They had found 5 more bodies, some 100 meters away. Years, what the fuck? Um, from where they originally found the campsite. So it looks like the party had tried to make their way back to the encampment, but then they died near a burnt out fire about a mile away from the tent. Hypothermia messes with your head. That's exactly what we're gonna get into. You didn't know this was a PSA about being in the outdoors. Surprise! No, but also, yeah. So, when they found the body, they were dusted with a few inches of snow. It took an additional 2 months for them to find the remaining 4 travelers. Um, their bodies were partially clothed, with articles belonging to the earlier discovered bodies, and with high levels of radiation. These last 4 bodies appeared to have suffered traumatic deaths, having been discovered down a ravine, about a 17-foot deep ravine in a cave that they had dug while they were trying to take shelter from the cold. One of them had a fractured skull, another one had crushed ribs, another one had broken ribs, and her tongue was missing. It is possible, that they fell and those injuries were from the fall, but that doesn't necessarily explain the missing tongue.
Unless she managed to hit something hard enough she bit it
She
off
bit it
and
off.
swallowed it.
I was just thinking that. But I mean, they did an autopsy and they didn't find it, so. Um. Besides freezing to death, 5 died of hypothermia. But for the rest, no other cause had been confirmed. The lead investigator provided a really vague conclusion when they were wrapping everything up. The cause of death was unknown compelling force which the hikers were unable to overcome. That is a direct quote.
Mm-hmm.
So there are definitely some theories about what happened. They range from like a crazy avalanche all the way up to our boys in green, the UFOs, to undisclosed nuclear testing in the area, because this did happen in like Cold War Soviet Union situation. But there's definitely some holes in that, in all of
Yeah.
these. So with the avalanche thing, avalanches can happen in mountainous regions for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
But a portion of the upper layer of snow would have had to have shifted, and it would have rolled over tourists, which could explain the cutout tent, like they were trying to escape, and some of the physical trauma.
No.
But it just these were experienced skiers and hikers, so they would know how to react in a situation like this. And the outside of the tent didn't show any signs of damages like an avalanche would have caused. Back when uranium flashlights were a thing and lead in children's toys. Yes.
I mean, depending on how far up in the mountains and whatnot they were, there
They're up and
are
about fast.
there are certain spots in multiple different mountain ranges that are said to the winds go through at such high velocity that it emits a sound that can completely disorientate. And some people that have escaped those situations said it felt like it was drawing them to it.
Like a
So
siren thing.
yeah, that's another kind of possibility. So. But it's heartbreaking for that many, for anybody, but especially in a group like that.
Yeah. With how some of the bodies looked, though, there was some of the bodies were described in reports as deeply tanned. So there was some speculation that the campsite was within the path of a parachute mine, and that when the hikers heard the explosions, they fled their tent out of fear, and they left all their stuff behind. But when they attempted to return, they realized they were lost, and at that point exposure took over, and that because of the region this was in, this information was not disclosed and it was suppressed. Radioactive thing that doesn't work for that, though, is that the hikers were radioactive but the area wasn't.
Yeah, how does that work? they would have had to have gone over somewhere else where they would have been in contact with the whatever radioactive stuff they were, and then gone back.
Yeah, and this what I found doesn't outline which bodies reflected deeply tanned, and if they were the same ones that had the radioactivity, like the radioactive signatures.
Hmm. Hmm.
The undressing bit. Wind at 70 plus miles plus the cold cause confusion. Or seeing people seeing skiers, they come back all burnt. I mean, that's true. That's fair.
Hmm. Windburn, yeah.
Windburn. And also sun on snow equal ouch.
Yeah. Um, Hypothermia, uh, early stages of it before you blacken it will darken the skin like it's tanned before it
Mm-hmm.
goes fully black. So,
Yeah. And if you are, this is a PSA. If you think you may have hypothermia or you think that you're having frostbite, don't touch don't touch what you think is getting frostbite. Don't do it. You will lose a nose, you will lose a finger. Don't do it.
yeah.
You let it thaw out, buddy. Um
And don't go in and just put whatever body part it is under hot water.
no, you'll fuck
Put it
your
under
shit up.
cool water.
You will fuck your shit up bad. Don't do
Yes, you put it under cool water. It'll still
it.
hurt, but it will hurt a
This
whole lot
episode has
less.
quickly devolved into mountain girls tell you how to survive bears and hypothermia. Also, aliens.
Yes,
This
we
is what this
cover it all.
we covered it all. Um so the thing that people are saying is like, well, maybe they undressed, like, because the the ones they found later that were in the dugout, they were wearing some of the clothes that the other ones were. So one of the theories is that when they came out of their tents, because they came out with no shoes, they came out like that. And some people were thinking that maybe, during hypothermia, during the onset of that, as everything was getting like delirious and confusing and disorienting, that they experienced hot flashes, they stripped down, which happens. This does happen with people
Hmm.
in extreme thermic shock when they're still like able to move around and shit, when they're really like they want to fight you. um
Yeah,
they'll strip down to their skivvies because they feel like they're on fire. They're like, oh man, I'm sweating, I'm dying. They strip off their stuff, and then they get colder faster. It's counterintuitive, but it is a thing that happens.
another thing is the ones that were wearing their clothes, if they died later than the first set, maybe for some reason they didn't have theirs and they were cold enough that when the others passed, they, essentially borrowed
It's
their clothing.
but it's I don't know, it's just a lot. And it's hard to tell, especially, we're looking at this from the outside perspective. You and I weren't there. We don't have photos of how things looked. And with
Yeah.
snowfall, you know this as best as I do, as best as anyone who's ever experienced super cold temperatures, high altitudes, and snowfall. Any tracks that you see, if there is snow flowing, if there is wind flowing,
They're gone
it's
quick.
gone. So if there was a pile of clothes that eventually was pilfered, there's really no way to really see that,
Yeah.
especially if it was farther back to where the later bodies were found, and that the ones that were naked for some reason decided to walk closer to the tent, because they got like a couple miles from the
Yeah.
tent during their initial run. And a lot of people who looked into this do think, well, maybe the fractured limbs, the broken bones and the injuries, maybe that could have happened from a fall. Um, and that the missing tongue could have just been a part of decomp because it was so much time between
Hmm.
when this happened and when the bodies, those bodies, the one with missing tongue was found. All in all, they actually still don't have a definitive answer on what actually happened. I mean, again, this was in like the 1950s. The information I found was from a few years ago. I didn't find
Mm.
anything updated since then. I can't imagine in a couple of years that they found like new evidence, because this is from the 50s. But it is definitely weird.
Mm.
It's definitely weird. It falls under what I would consider spooky. Um, you mentioned like the the whistle sound, like the wind sound.
Mm.
I'm not saying that a cryptid did this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
It is possible, but we're not going there.
I'm not gonna go there. But if I did go
Except
there,
there.
if I did go there, uh, in that region, I mean, realistically, I am not familiar with that specific region's uh cool cryptids. Outside of like the uh the Yeti kind of archetype, but even then, from my recollection, they don't have like a cool whistle or anything. But I mean, this is a senseless thing. These were experienced skiers and hikers. I mean, anybody can be caught off guard. You can be super prepared and still be caught off guard. Case in point, I thought I was super prepared when we played Minecraft the other day. Um, Completely unrelated. I thought I was doing so well, and then I died, and I took Al with me. But I mean, you can be prepared for everything you could conceive of, but something that you couldn't think of could happen if
No.
it was a parachute bombing and they were caught off guard. But for some reason, the radioactive traces didn't stay at the site, or maybe they were, but they weren't written down because of suppression issues. And it was only because the other bodies were found later, that we know that information. We don't have that. We don't have that information to definitively say this is what happened or this is what didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could have been a combination of hypothermia, uh, crazy stuff. Just there's so much, you know.
Mm.
And it didn't help that there was a very at the time that they didn't have enough to say, "Hey, this is what happened." It was a inexplicable force that they could not escape. I can't. That was the quote from the lead inspector. Uh, so yeah, there's that. So now you guys can know about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, especially when you're going out hiking, though, you're going out into the wilderness. Always let somebody know, and if somebody's let you know that they're out there, um, it can't hurt if they're late to let someone know that they missed their check-in. This, of
Yeah.
course, happened in the 50s, 59. Um, and it was 2 weeks after they missed their check-in that the relatives were like, "Hey, we gotta get somebody up there." That's a long time.
No. Yeah. I mean,
If you're in shock and that cold, you might not notice, let alone have options. Uh, you're stuck in the wilds. You break your arm one way or another. Now you're stuck with a broken arm. That's true. It's very, yeah. You can't really, no one foresees dropping down a ravine. I can't imagine, you know, but that's gonna be
e-
the whole situation must have been terrifying, regardless of what specifically happened. All of the options that are available that have been speculated are all terrifying, and I really hate that this happened to them.
it, it's heartbreaking under any circumstance. my internet being such a pain with my Explorer today?
And snow is surprisingly heavy. Like if you're under it.
It is. It really is. Uh,
Like I got buried as a kid. Like buried as a I was under like 8 feet of snow, and it's like it was rough. I'm actually like really surprised I lived, but like that's neither here nor there. Just always check in if you're going out places. Set a plan. Check in with someone if you're gonna go hiking. You're gonna go into the wilderness, and if you were that contact person for someone and they missed their check in, let somebody know. Like
yeah.
the second it happens, in my mind. Keep a little uranium in your pocket for luck. God damn it, Panda. Just a little. Just a little bit. I'm supposed to be safe.
Why in the world are the dogs are going off about something upstairs?
Oh no. I think we
The
were at the
roommate.
last one, right?
Yeah. We were gonna end up on
On a really
kinda
cool one.
on a cool one,
On a
and
cool
it
one.
wasn't a very long one. They at least solved part of it.
You don't know what they use to line their boots. Facts, dude. I mean,
My Twitch, for some reason, I can access all of my other websites on Chrome, but Twitch is being a brat.
sometimes, honestly, this happened to me the other day when I was watching Panda stream. It kept trying to fight me.
Yeah, I don't get it because I run the Windows diagnostic, and it says there's no internet, but obviously there is internet because we're
They
still
were talking.
talking, and
And Panda could hear
my
us.
other windows are fine. It's just the Twitch one. So, but anyway, while I fight with that, you're gonna sit there and do this, really? Cancel that. I'll worry about that later. Okay, so ending on a fun and confusing, yet keep us all interested.
Mm-hmm.
On I'm not even gonna say the title of it because it completely gives it away.
It totally gives it
On,
away if you do that. Don't do it.
on December 4th, 1926, I think this is our oldest one today. Beloved mystery writer Agatha Christie vanished in a case that remains unsolved today. Oh, I guess they didn't solve it. She was found, but they didn't solve it.
Yeah.
Agatha Christie, as most people, not everybody, but most people know, is one of history's foremost crime novelists. But perhaps her most intriguing mystery might be the case of her own strange disappearance one winter night at the height of her career. It was just months after the release of her book, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, that she vanished, leaving her car abandoned on the edge of a roadside pit. For nearly 2 weeks, tens of thousands of fans, police workers, and amateur sleuths tried to find her. At one point, even turning to an unfinished manuscript of hers for clues.
Yeah. It was a solid 11 days she went missing.
Yep.
All of her stuff was packed up. Like she had personal belongings. She had clothes inside of the car.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. In 1926, she was in her late 30s. She'd already published several wildly popular detective novels. Skimming.
Yeah.
She is renowned for how she captures something elemental about mysteries. That motive and opportunity may suffice for a crime, but the satisfying part is the detective's revelation of who done it and why.
Absolutely. The whole concept of like modern deductive reasoning outside of like Holmesian approaches. Agatha
Now,
Christie I love her shit. I'm gonna be real with you. Like,
Right?
I had a car that was straight up like it was the weirdest car I've ever had. The gas meter never worked, and I swear if I accidentally hit a small critter, it would run better. And I named it
Hmm.
Agatha Christie because that bitch was a mystery. Um, but I digress.
Now, well, at 36, she settled into married life with her husband, Colonel Archibald Christie, who she met at the onset of World War One. And then on the evening of December 3rd, 1926, she was seen leaving her house with nothing more than an. Gotta untie my tongue here. With nothing more than an attache case. She kissed her daughter goodnight and left a note to her secretary informing them that she would not be returning home that night. Then she drove away in the family's two-seater automobile. She was not found until 10 days later after a highly publicized search. Um, on December 6th, her disappearance hit the front page of the New York Times. Uh, it reported that her car had been found 2 days earlier, abandoned near Guildford. Guildford.
Guilford?
On, yeah, on the edge of a chalk pit. Um, they had few clues to work on, but they said the circumstances of her disappearance were nonetheless suspicious. First there was the bizarre discovery of the abandoned car. Then there was a series of nondescript letters that she had left to her secretary, her brother-in-law, and her husband. Her husband refused to share the contents of his letters, saying they were too personal. The secretary said her letter was but a schedule, and Christie's brother-in-law told the police that his letter said she had gone to a spa in Yorkshire. Um, Authorities nonetheless suspected suicide and searched around the Silent Pool, a natural pond in the area, which locals believed to be bottomless. Others said that she had left to escape her house, which was rumored to be haunted. Um,
Haunted, did you
as
say?
right,
Hold on. Let me just.
let's go shout a bit.
Just a little bit.
I mean, personally, I wouldn't want to escape a haunted house, but I do understand why some people might need to escape it.
For
It
sure.
can get a bit heavy. Um,
There's no shame in being a coward. You can somebody add that as a quote.
run away to fight another day. Um, let's see. As police continued their fruitless search, rumors swirled about a publicity stunt for her upcoming series, The Mystery of the Downs, which was vehemently denied by her secretary. Um, to quote her secretary, "It is ridiculous. Mrs. Christie is quite too much of a lady for that. She never for a moment would think of causing all this sorrow and suspense. It is the last thing in the world she would do." Um, on December 13th of 36, between 10,000 and 15,000 volunteers joined in the search for Agatha Christie near where her car had been found. The search involved 6 trained bloodhounds, a crate of Airedale Terriers, many retrievers, and an Alsatian police dogs, among other canine aids. The next day, police found a number of items, including bottles labeled as poison, lead, and opium, a torn up postcard, a woman's fur lined coat, a loaf of bread, and 2 children's books. With no sign of the author's body, a seance was held at the chalk pit. Even Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, a staunch spiritualist, enlisted the help of a medium to whom he gave one of Christie's gloves.
Okay.
A further rumor posited that Christie had given a letter to her secretary that was only to be opened in the event of her death.
When did that happen? When did? Like, was it right before? Because that's hella
Uh,
sus.
I don't know. It
I
doesn't
didn't know. I
specify.
didn't know about the letters. That's weird.
um, let's see. One news report says the police have information which they refuse to divulge and which leads them to the view that Mrs. Christie had no intention of returning when she left home. Then on December 15th, the search for Agatha Christie came to an end with an unexpected twist. 10 days after her dramatic disappearance, mystery writer Agatha Christie was found at Harrogate Spa in Yorkshire, a revelation consistent with what her brother in law told police, but the conditions in which she was discovered only muddied the case.
Mm-hmm.
After picking up his wife from the spa, Colonel Christie informed reporters that she does not know who she is. She has suffered from the most complete loss of memory. She also could not remember how she ended up at Harrogate. Um, Following the news of the discovery, hundreds of people showed up at King's Cross train station in London to await their arrival. Um, New York Times noted that hundreds of amateur detectives were putting away their lynx eyes, gumshoes, and Sherlock Holmes pea jackets and resting on their weary trampings over the Surrey Downs.
Leave it to the
As
New
it
York Times just to just iconic quote it. I believe
as
you.
a, right, as the mystery of her disappearance was finally solved. But even though the author had been found, the reason behind her sudden disappearance remains unknown to this day. It
I
was
know
the
stuff.
unspoken it was the unspoken subject. Agatha refused to talk about it to anyone. It was a real no-go.
So I know stuff. I know stuff about
Mm-hmm.
this. So
Do tell.
okay. So what they do know at this point, or like what that she had they had like followed clues that she had traveled to London. She took a train to Harrogate, and when she got to Harrogate, she took a taxi to the hotel, but she signed under a pseudonym, Teresa Neal. And the surname Neal is actually the same surname as her husband's mistress, her of her husband's mistress, Nancy Neal. And when when people asked her about it specifically, like, "Hey, what happened?" Um, a lot of people just assumed it was like a blow to the head that caused temporary amnesia for 10 days. Uh, and the statement that she gave was that she wandered around in a dream and then she found herself at the Harrogate. She was perfectly happy and she believed she had just come from South Africa. And uh, nobody really believed that because that seems sus.
Yeah,
Um,
just a little.
yeah. So a lot of people thought that she did this to fuck with her husband for being a philanderer, which like I get it. I'm petty. I get that. Like I can understand that. I know that there have been a lot of a lot of the family was interviewed. One of the people who were interviewed about it um was a sister-in-law and friend of Christie's. Uh saying that when she was a kid, uh she was with her mother and Christie, and that Christie told them what happened. That she had sat in the hotel room, but she had signed that she remembers signing it under the wrong name, and that it was specifically her husband's lover's name. It was all carefully orchestrated. She wanted to give him a shock, and if she had amnesia, uh, she wouldn't have signed it in another woman's name. Um, it was one of those things where she didn't do it for publicity. Like what they were saying is that she didn't do it for publicity. She didn't think it was going to be publicized. She was actually a little like shocked and a little upset that it was so heavily publicized. But that from what the family was saying is that it was absolutely a blow. Just it was carefully set up with the intention of getting her husband, who is a philanderer, worried about her, and for him to like panic, and then to get him back. I guess that's what the family was like. The family that, according to their testimony, what they were saying, in interviews far after the fact, that's what they were saying, is that it was specifically to get back at the husband.
Now, that does sound like it's probably the most likely thing, especially given they divorced 15 months later.
Yeah, and apparently that was part of the conversation that led to Christy divulging what had happened. Allegedly, she was with the person who was interviewed and their mother, because the mother had recently gone through a divorce, and Christy was like, "Hey, I need to get a divorce because like my plan did not work, so I got to go the other route."
Yeah.
Which still, it's super wild, and a lot of information, we can't at this point, we can't say this is what happened, this is what didn't happen, because again, so far back, we only have bits and pieces of things that were actually documented. And because it was so
Yeah.
highly publicized, because so many people were trying to sleuth it out, and because Reddit wasn't a thing at the time, so we didn't have internet sleuths like fucking pooling their resources and shit. Like,
Right.
they were reliant on what each of them could bring and figure it out on their own. So there were loads of speculations on what happened. And I know that the mystery of itself, I mean, depending on what source you go with, it's between 9 and 11 days. She was just missing. She had no memory of it. A lot of places don't cite the excuse she gave. Um, I know a couple of books do, but again, I mean, these are other parties' accounts. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like she wrote it down and was like, "Yeah, this is what I remember." Crazy. Like, it was someone else saying, "This is what she told me."
Yeah.
Um, which is what it is. You can only take it with so much salt. But the fact
One
that
of
there
the
were so many
things.
speculations, it has sparked so many different, like, different little aspects of different things in media. I think there was even a Doctor Who episode that included, actually, yes, there was. I remember it. There was a Doctor Who
The,
episode. It was the 10th Doctor and Donna. Love
the
Donna.
Doctor and Donna.
The
Yeah.
Doctor and Donna. Um, it was the one with the fucking bees. It
Oh,
was the big
yeah.
ass, like the bees. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did we get back to the bees? Look what you've done,
We always
Panda.
come back
Look
to the
what you've
bees.
done. Like,
One thing I do like right here is where they say, it was a perfect tabloid story with all the elements of an Agatha Christie whodunit.
yeah. And for a
It
thing that
couldn't
she
have
she
gotten
was
more fit.
really like, from like, she didn't talk about it with people. She was like, "I'm not talking about this." So like, it almost comes across like, is she standoffish because she wants to keep that a secret, or is it like a shit, I didn't expect this to blow up, embarrassed? Because like, I can relate to either of those things. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Fun.
just, I figured, we might as well, if we're gonna, you know,
We're both Agatha Christie fans, so
we are.
it made sense. This is
It
what we were
did,
talking about right before this. You were like,
we
"Yeah,
planned this one, guys.
I had a story about a disappearance in the Vatican and Agatha Christie." And I'm like, "Yes, Agatha Christie. I'm interested about the Vatican. Can you give me any heads up about all of the like none of it? You bamboozled me. You did good. You did real good. Did real good."
I mean, we went from the bamboozle to certain extremes to, okay, let's finish on a more notorious
Yeah.
mystery.
It was definitely this was a wild ride. I always enjoy these things. I enjoy Spooky Saturdays because we get to have a chat. Let's talk about creepy things, about things that are uncomfortable sometimes. And sometimes shit gets paranormal. Sometimes there's aliens. Sometimes there's a Yeti that sings alluring songs. Or, uranium lined boots. You know, stuff like that. I'm, yeah, so those are the stories that we had. And I know this is usually the part in the segment where I ask what kind of stuff you got going on in the future so we can all keep an eye out. So, you just made
Yeah,
affiliate.
yeah, I did. I did. It's been a nice, long, steady struggle, but we got there.
Neat.
Um,
I'm really proud of you.
right. Thank you. Right now, I'm actually working on trying to find what niche is going to fit best for me and keep, my viewers entertained and me. Because Goddess knows that even if the viewers are entertained, if I'm not, it's going to get old quick.
I think you just have fun.
Yeah, but I also want to kind of
You're like,
mostly I'm most of my stuff so far has been kind of random. Um, I want to see if I can't find like your Spooky Saturdays, something that can be done regularly. Some games that are going to take time to work through, um, things like that. But also, raising two kids does make it a little hard to set an exact schedule of when things are going to get done.
that's fair.
So.
I know a lot of people rock schedules outside of Spooky Saturday. I've tried to rock some schedules personally, but I'm kinda garbage, so I can't really give you advice on that. But I know a lot of people do that sort of thing. There's definitely people you can like reach out with. But ultimately, I just think whatever you do, you should have fun. I have a thing. I have a channel point thing, and this might be something that might help you. Uh, if you have a list of games, like I have a list of games in my panel, and I have a channel point redeem, like choose the game I play next.
Yeah.
So that way, if there's something that somebody really wants to see, they could spend points on it. Um, that might be something cool if like you're trying to figure out what people want to see.
Yeah. My other thing is also making sure that on the technical side of things, my system can handle doing it too.
Valid. That's valid.
Does make it a little more tricky. And Trash Panda, I wish it was that simple. But when you've got two children around the ages of mine, and
Husband, child.
the husband child, the brother child, all of that, it get, I pick a day and time, and the world comes to an end. So, in case in point, my daughter's, I'm having to keep her quiet because she's sitting back here trying to have her temper tantrum right now. So, yeah, she's dealing it though. She I think part of what's calming her down is she knows it's for her Aunt Bunny.
That's right. TT Bunny. TT Bunny is cool. We love me. And
Yes, she
I'm so modest, so humble. Um
does.
uh putting all those plugs in. You know what's crazy about putting all these plugs in? Bam. If you're not already doing it, why not? Follow her. This is the point of Spooky Saturdays, to have spooky chats and to plug stuff. Absolutely, I know, you're part of the guild, you're part of several different communities of streamers and people who love you. So, I think I'm gonna speak for everybody. Just ask us, if you have any technical questions. I will not be able to answer them. Full disclosure, because I am obviously super tech savvy. Uh, no. Uh,
No, most of my tech questions I end up going to zombie
Yeah, because I'm not doing it.
or Mr. Kiwi.
Mr.
Depends on the
Kiwi, I
type of
love
tech
Mr.
question.
Kiwi. What? Oh,
You
did I cut
said
you off?
no.
Well, that's right. You are here to help. Oh shit! Thanks for the hydrate. No, honestly, yeah, just have fun with it. Yeah. So, do you have anything that you're really excited to try out? Because I know you were talking about, what was it? You were talking about a game the other day that you were looking to do on stream, and I completely forgot what it's called. Because my brain is soft.
Either Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, also known as KOTOR, or
that's what that.
RuneScape.
You know, I did not piece the acronym together, but that makes sense. Because I was like, I don't know what that is. I should look that up. And then I scurried about because I had a bunch of stuff that I was trying to get done. I'm terrible.
Was recently gifted by our dear Mr. Kiwi both Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Electric Boogaloo. Sorry, I'm sorry. I have a problem.
It's okay.
I have a problem. Okay.
You know, I was thinking if they do actually, they run on my system. I already checked that. Whether or not they will run while I'm streaming is my other question.
You should try the thing that I do when I do sound checks, because that should probably work. I think. Maybe actually ask Zombie before you take my advice on that, though.
I did, and that will work for seeing if my system can handle it. But then we've got the issue of my internet.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
If the system will handle it, it's a big step towards me being able to do it. But I'm kind of hoping that if I do decide to go that route, that the viewers will get interested and will follow along as I go. Because I have yet to beat the first one.
So what you're saying is that you're going to put it on the hardest difficulty, and you're for sure not going to rage quit. And you're committing to that right now. You're committing to that right now.
No. Nice try, Bunny. Because if you did go on the hardest, I would rage quit.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Will you record it?
For you, Bunny, yes, I would.
Thank you. You know I enjoy a good rage quit. Have you tried holding the power button while your computer is unplugged? I mean, that's a solid tech support strat. Trash Panda, do not sell yourself short. That is beautiful and smart. Hard mode playthrough happening. That's right.
No,
that's right, Shadow. Heard it here first. Ah!
No.
Okay, how about this? Maybe not that one. We'll find a different one. I'm gonna get it. There's gonna be a thing. Although me signing up for that means that somebody's gonna try to do the same thing to me. I don't know. No, it's fine.
Oh no. You already stepped in it. Now we gotta find one that we can put on the hardest mode for both of us, and we'll just do it together.
I don't know. Wait, honestly, let's have a discussion about this. We can have a discussion about this when we get that's a great idea. So we'll circle back on that beautiful thing. I am really pumped though. I'm really glad that you were able to give some time today to hang out and talk about really fucking wild ass conspiracy theories and like missing again. This is the missing persons thing. If you know something about someone who's missing, if you suspect someone's missing, you should let somebody know. Contact your local people. If you see something, say something. I'm quoting NYCP right now. If you see something, say something. But no, for real. because the earlier someone that they know someone's missing, the sooner they'll be able to find them.
Yeah. And if you have any information about somebody that's already missing, let somebody know, because while they don't like necessarily sitting down and combing through all the different tips, they're needed, because sometimes it's the most obscure tip that leads to a final resolution.
Absolutely. And also, final takeaway, you cannot outrun a bear. I don't care who you are, it's not gonna happen. Like, it's not gonna work. Sorry, I had to do that. I had to do it because it brought up. Just actually, no. I'm pumped for later. So December, the end of this, we're gonna talk about serial killers, about a specific serial killer. I'm not gonna spoil it for everybody because it's gonna be a surprise mouse cool for later. But I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I believe Archie will be with us. It'll be a good time.
Oh, she should be. She's supposed to be. That's the plan anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of fun with that.
We gotta figure out scheduling. It's beautiful. It's gonna be great. I'm very excited. I really love spooky shit. I'm so happy everybody came here. This is the end of the part, though. This is the end of the thing. I love you. Thank you very much. Everybody, thank you for being here at whatever capacity you were. Appreciate you. I think somebody actually also, I think you redeemed a thing accidentally, Trash Panda, when you were trying to do the raid thing. I don't know how to refund channel points because I'm obviously a professional. So I'm gonna ask somebody else how to figure that out, and then I'll get back to you. But I will make sure it happens, if it is a thing that can happen. But I think you actually gave me a name to raid. So let me pull them up to see if they're still going. And I actually totally remember the name for sure, which is why I'm gonna pull up and roll up a bit where this all happened, where this all took place, because I for sure remember.
Why she's not scrolling back or asking you to retype.
What? I've never done any of that. What are you talking about?
Never would.
Never. No. I am super professional. I totally remembered that we were looking at Jarl of Goats.
Yep, that was the word.
Stage actor. Ooh, we love to see it. Looks like they are currently offline. So that didn't work. Sorry, I think I missed them. They may have ended a while ago. They're currently offline right now. Don't be mad. Yeah, I'm sorry. Carl of Hose is not on right now. You can outrun a bear if you push someone else down first. I swear, y'all are terrible. What the
At least Shadow only said person, not... Yeah.
Just, drop kick your friend. No, don't do that. Don't quote me on that. Don't ever do that. Yeah, so I'll keep an eye out for Jarl of Hope. Looks like he plays a lot of tabletop RPGs. Oh, bet. Excellent, absolutely. I will keep that. I'm gonna look at that later. It's gonna be a mouse cool. Well, I will figure out how to refund you for that. Unless you have anybody else that you want to go to. I didn't say sacrifice Billy. Ugh. Awful, awful, despicable. We love it though. Let me see if I have anyone on that's rated. And I will get you refunded. I'm so sorry. We'll get Jarl eventually, just not today, because they're done. Dunsky, bro. What? I didn't tell Ty any of that. What are you talking about?
You're gonna get you in trouble.
Shadow, Bro, don't mess with me like that. Don't do this to me. Despicable. Still love you. Yep, so do anyone I'm trying to find people that are on that are even doing anything remotely spooky before I just go through like people I'm following right now. Because I don't think two people can redeem that in one stream. I feel like I set that up that way because I'm terrible. Trash bin, you got anybody else? How
Tin Man.
about is that the Thin Man? That sounds
Tin Man. Tin. T-I-N.
Thin Mints?
Tin.
It's not Girl Scout season. What you talking about? What you talking about? No. Doing just chatting. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. We'll do that. Tin Man. Absolutely. Okay. Well, at the amazing request of our friend Trash Panda, we're gonna do a raid, and I actually totally know how to set that up all on my own. I don't need it, but I can do this because I already copy pasted, and I don't have to worry about typing things out because I'm smart. Love you all. I hope you have a spooky time, and I actually will try to stream at some point this week. It didn't happen this last week, but it's all Gucci. Say goodbye to the internet, innocent.
Goodbye, Internet. I love you.
Mwah!
Mwah.